It's a beautiful day here in sunny Sanur, and we're not going to let the rain get us down today. We're going to continue on our adventures like I normally would, and I think that's one of the key points about being in Bali in the wet season is if you let the rain dictate your activities, you're going to have a bad time. So today I made sure I'm getting out and about, having a look around. So join me as we explore a bit of Sanur, and the north of Sanur in particular, on this rainy day. We are at Pantai Bangsal, and that's where all of those newer restaurants and warungs have been built, and a new path has been built over the past sort of 6 months to 12 months. And I just wanted to show what it's like at the moment. It's changed a little bit. It's modernised since the last time I came up here and filmed it. A few extra cafes have gone in, but more or less the same sort of style. This is what it looks like now. If you haven't seen it in the past a couple of years, past 12 months, that's what it looks like now. Because it's a rainy day, no one's out and about except me. No one's out and about. It's a bit sad, isn't it? I actually really try and make sure that the rain doesn't hamper my activities too much. It's one of the things I sort of made a promise to myself about 10 years ago when I gave up my car. I had a car when I was in Java, and when I gave it up, I said to myself, I will not let the rain hamper my activities, because that's what could happen. You know, you could give up your car, which is your protection from the rain, and then not go out anymore. So I just sort of made that promise to myself, and since then I've actually made an effort to get out and about when I can. How does this raincoat look, by the way? There's a coffee shop up there called Kopi Jaya Abadi, which I might just drop into first. I mean, we're still in the morning, so I can still have a coffee, can't I? And then we'll continue on. I actually plan to walk a lot further north past the harbour today, maybe up to Padang Galak if I can get up there. We'll see. All right, we're out of the rain. So a quick recap on what this place is and what it isn't, what it used to be and what it is now. Over there you can see some boats ready to go across to Nusa Lembongan. That is the old harbour for passengers going to Nusa Lembongan and Nusa Penida. So you used to have to come to Pantai Bangsal, walk into the water and get on a boat and go. These days, that area now, just that over there, that's all cargo. So all the cargo going in and out of Lembongan, all the food, the produce, motorbikes, everything comes and goes by boat. And that's one of the places that they go from. I think there are other places that they might be able to go from as well. What I do know is that, like for example, if they've got a car they need to take across, they don't take a car and put it on that and take it across. They've got other means to get vehicles across there. So Nusa Lembongan generally doesn't have too many cars and trucks, but it has some, and you've got to get them across there. So there are other ways to get it across there. So now the harbour is actually over there, yeah? And this area was sort of developed over the past 6 to 12 months. So before, this path wasn't really here. It was sort of like down there a lot lower, like really low. There was a bunch of trees. The trees are still here actually, they've saved those. And lots of old, just lower class warungs really, cheaper warungs. And they weren't that popular. Now with some people, they just thought they were great because it had a real local feel to it. And that is true, they did have a real local feel to it. But even locals actually want a higher level these days. There we go, here's my coffee. From Nastari, thank you Nastari. Well, that looks like a good coffee, look at that one. That's cost me 31,000, tax inclusive and everything. I'll just give it a bit of a test on camera before we continue on with that story. Good coffee, good coffee. Good price too, like that's one of the cheaper ones you'll get in town. But what they've done, they've got rid of all the old crappy warungs and put in new restaurants. And they're actually very popular with locals. There's a lot more locals coming here now than there were at the old local warungs, even though the character of this place is gone. Like there's not a lot of, like this is very, like you could see this anywhere in the world, this sort of styling, which I really don't like, but the locals love it. This is local style, but coming here as a foreigner, I mean, there's just a lot of good food options, a lot of good eating options. So there's like about 10 coffee shops down here. It's a bit too much actually, but if you love coffee, there's an unlimited supply of places to choose from, which is nice. There's noodles, there's bakso, there's pizza, there's an Italian restaurant down there. There's all sorts of stuff you can eat. Even at this place, they sell gorengan and they sell donuts. And on a day like today, so gorengan is perfect on a day when it's raining. There's just something about gorengan, the fried stuff, that feels really good on a day when it's just a little bit overcast, a bit rainy, a bit of wind about, and some might say it's cold. I mean, it's not, but some would say it's cold. Like, there's people got jackets on and stuff, and having a gorengan is almost like sitting around a hot fire, hot open fire with a cup of hot cocoa on a cold winter's night in the middle of Siberia. As we continue along Pantai Bangsal here, I just wanted to sort of touch on those points about the rainy season. And a lot of people sort of ask, is it worth coming to Bali in the rainy season? There's this fear that you're going to get here and be rained out. And I sort of think it's the wrong way to look at things. I think the best way to think about the wet season is that it's unpredictable. You don't know whether it's going to rain or not. A lot of people sort of say, oh, it only rains for a couple of hours in the afternoon every day and that's it, it's really predictable. But in my experience in both Bali and other parts of Indonesia is that the wet season is not really predictable at all. Some wet seasons are really, really wet. And we're talking sort of like weeks of constant rain, weeks, when you're sort of like trapped indoors. And there are other wet seasons where it's really dry, hardly a drop of rain at all. I remember about 15 years ago, I had a wet season where I rarely got a drop of rain. I was out most days in the wet season, going all around Java, and it was absolutely not a problem at all. Hello. So it's really unpredictable. Now you do sometimes get those wet seasons where you get 2 hours of rain in the afternoon. It's really predictable, but that hasn't been like that for the past few years here in Bali for sure. We've been having a lot of rain overnight, and we've been having rain throughout the days as well, and then we'll have a blazing hot day in between. So unpredictable is my sort of explanation of things. Now with that in mind, you shouldn't be sort of predicting how things are going to turn out when you're here in Bali during the wet season. And what that means is you're going to have to roll with the punches. If it rains, you're going to have plans in place to sort of deal with that. I'm down at Pantai Matahari Torbit at the moment, and there is a temple ceremony going on at the moment, which is really nice. And that music is just so atmospheric, pretty unique here in Indonesia, in Bali. I'm actually getting into the area where you get a bit harassed by sellers, basically, either for transport to wherever you're going from here or the boat across the islands. Yeah, so that's most of what sort of goes on around this area. I mean, it's okay, it's not the end of the world, but if you do need transport out of here, it's sort of quite expensive if you use the local taxi corporation here. So most people try and go to the main road to catch a taxi, but that's sort of been clamped down on in recent times. And some of the taxi sort of, or the local transport corporation here have been fighting with people. And I mean physical fighting. You've seen it online, you've seen it on the videos. It's been quite aggressive and not very good as an image for Sanur, especially here. But again, it's one of these sort of transit places, These drivers don't really get work from anywhere else. So it's very transactional, and they're trying to get as much money as they can per passenger. There actually has been mediation between the taxi corporation and the police and politicians as well over, well, even just recently over the past few weeks, there was a meeting between different parties. And one of the things they're going to allow happen is for buses to come in here, public buses, but only once every 2 or 3 hours. So it's not really useful. But that'd be good if you had public buses coming down here, for sure. I don't mind the taxi people sort of having their own little area and taking it all for themselves. I don't mind that. The problem is the prices they charge. So for me to go home in Sanur, they might charge 150,000 when really I can catch a motorbike for 7. That's the sort of stuff we're dealing with. So yeah, it's time to put the hood on again. That rain is back. That rain is back. So that's the harbour. Yeah, that is such a busy place these days. Those islands these days, especially Nusa Penida, are just so popular, especially with day trippers. It is just an incredible change over the past 10 years. It's incredible how busy these places are. And that harbour is almost at capacity. They're talking about opening up more boat trips from the southern part of Sanur at Pantai Mertasari. There's a little jetty there, which is sort of, you're not supposed to go onto. It's got a sign that says no entry. There's a jetty there that they are thinking about using once again for trips over to Nusa Lembongan and Nusa Penida to split up, I guess, a bit of the traffic and a bit of the business between here and down south. It sort of makes sense. In the rainy season here, the temptation is to sit inside your hotel room all day, and that's not a bad idea for a one-off day. Just have a bit of a relax and just, I don't know, play on your phone, watch some YouTube, watch a bit of Sanur diaries. But the problem is, if it goes on for day after day after day, and you've got it in your mind that you don't want to go out if it's raining, I mean, you can be trapped indoors for days. One of the things down here is that the footpath is not too flat, so you get these big puddles everywhere. And it'd be a good idea to put some sandals on, really, or some thongs if you're Australian, or some flip-flops if you're not from Australia, or some jandals if you're from New Zealand, which is a funny word, isn't it? So get your jandals on, or maybe even some of those trekking sandals or those amphibious shoes. You know, those ones where you can get into the water and walk around. Those ones are really good for this weather. I think you need to put socks on though, because I think your feet might get torn up if it gets too wet. You know, like the rub against that plastic or that rubber and get torn up. So I'd be wearing socks and jandals for sure in this weather. It's one of those things, I think, you've got to come prepared for all eventualities, you know. Gee, it's really coming down now. Even with this raincoat on, I'm a bit wet. All this advice that I'm giving about, yeah, go out in the rain, and then I'm out here and getting wet. It's not sort of very convincing, is it? But I don't mind it. You know, if I wasn't doing this now, so I had this in my mind yesterday. I was thinking, tomorrow I'm going to go out and take a video down at Pantai Bangsal and maybe go for a walk to Padang Galak. That was my idea. And then the rain wouldn't stop, and I thought, well, you know what? I don't care. I'm just going to go and do it in the rain, because I think people need to know that it's actually okay. It's not the end of the world. Like, you know, what's the worst that's going to happen? You get a bit wet. That's really what we're talking about. And the thing is, because your time here is not always that long, you might only have a week or two on holiday. Like, if you don't make the most of it, you know, you're going to spend all day inside. You're going to hate it. So I think you've got to get that mindset and really just bang on and be prepared. It is pretty set in though. So the wet season is really between October and March, and my memory of it in Bandung in West Java was that it was quite a sharp cut-off and ending, but I don't know if that's true. I mean, my memory is sort of saying that's true, but it doesn't make sense, because here it's definitely not like that. In Bali, it's sort of like a build-up, and then it sort of goes away over the course of a couple of weeks. You sort of get like one last rainy day, and then it'll fine up for a couple of weeks. Then you'll get another bit of rain, and then it's sort of finally over. And so, yeah, October to March sort of timing is about right at the moment. Locals are sort of saying that wet season has varied over the years. You know, they were taught in school a particular wet season and what the dates were, but these days it doesn't really fit in with the official wet season timings. Things have sort of changed over the past couple of decades, I suppose. So Padang Galak, 2 kilometres from Pantai Bangsal, pretty easy to get here on foot. In a car and a motorbike, you sometimes have to deal with traffic. So the land prices here are not as cheap as what you'd imagine. Land prices here, you know, are probably on par or slightly cheaper than the west side of the bypass in Sanur, even though you're a little bit out of the way, and you know, the traffic situation getting into town is a bit of a problem at times. Some people love it here because it is a bit out of the tourist zone. Some people who live here don't like to be in that seasonal tourist thing. I don't mind it, it's not a problem for me, but some people don't like it. They want to feel like the real local style while living in their villa. I don't care, but some people do, and that's why this place is really appealing for those people, because you get that real sort of local neighbourhood feels like the village still. You've got a lot of corn plantations or cornfields around here. Padang Galak's known for corn, and yeah, it's a great feeling actually. But the big negative is if you use motorised transport to go south, you've got to get past that harbour, and the harbour causes traffic, and then that's just been a problem for years now. It's terrible. Walking into town, easy, 2Ks. If you've got a bicycle, I mean, you'd zip down there in no time. In fact, if I lived in Padang Galak, I'd be getting a bicycle and I'd be zipping down that path straight into Sanur along that path in no time, in the rain as well. Oh, that's an abandoned theme park, by the way, yeah? Remember that? I've actually done a couple of videos down here. I'll just go and show you for those who don't know what it is. the abandoned theme park is crazy. Yeah, that's what we're looking at. You got to pay to get in. I don't know who you're paying, some dude. Yeah. Hello. That's what we're talking about. He's after my money at the moment, but I'm not going to go in. So yeah, that's really cool. A cool place to look around. If you have any interest in abandoned theme parks or just something a little bit quirky, I nearly went down there. God, this is slippery. Go down there. Go down to this place and have a look around. Pay you 20,000 or whatever it is and have a look around because it is phenomenal. Really amazing. All right. We move on. I'm sort of discovering that this raincoat that I've got, it's a pretty good one. It costs like $100 or something like that, long sleeves and all that. I'm discovering that it's not as waterproof as I thought it was. I mean, I've worn it a lot before and it does a pretty good job, but I'm wet under here, like almost fully wet, which is a little bit strange. Don't know why. Maybe I haven't got it done up properly or something like that. Maybe it's leaking through my head or what have you. We're going up here. This is the main road of Padang Galak. This is the road that goes all the way up to that main bypass road that goes through Sanur as well. But along this road, there are a few little restaurants and cafes that are worth having a look at. Halo. Lagi apa?
Lagi nongkrong.
Nongkrong? Ya. Kenapa? Hujan?
Hujan tunggu terang-terang, nggak terang-terang.
Ya, betul. Mungkin nunggu lama.
Sudah. Nggak bisa kerja karena hujan.
Ya, dan apa? Ada dangdut juga ya.
Iya.
Kenapa nggak joget?
Hah? Dingin.
Yeah, okay, mari ya. Hello. I'm actually making a beeline for a place that's like a bakery, a commercial bakery. And I don't know when it was, but they opened up a sort of like a retail outlet as well that sort of serves like a modern cafe. And it's a really good one. It's probably even worth going out of your way for, I think. Well, I think it is worth going out of your way for. It's pretty good. It's called Zavi. They call it, I think, croissanteria or something like that. Croissanterie. But that doesn't sound very French, does it? Oh, it could be. Patisserie, croissanterie. I don't know. That's a bakery. Like, let's face it, we're not going to be calling it a croissanterie today at all or ever. Zavi Bakery. That's what we're talking about. Nice little cafe. They do a great coffee down there as well. Really good coffee. And I want to show it to you because I think it's very good. Well, look at this. It's pretty ugly and industrial, isn't it? Like you're going, there's no way I'm going there. Like the first time I came here, I was like, nah, I'm not going there. I hate it. I hated it before I even went inside, like judging a book by its cover. But then you come in here and you go, oh. And this actually reminded me, this little passageway, of the tsunami memorial in Banda Aceh, which is really weird because it looks exactly like this. Then you see that and you go, okay, interesting. Then a door. What have we got inside? That's what we got. This is what we got. Isn't that crazy? There are all the sorts of pastries I've got. Hello. Look at all the cakes. There's tiramisu. You've got chocolate raspberry tart. Look at that. Paris Brest, carrot cakes, all sorts of stuff here. Pretty cool. Let's get settled in and get a coffee. All right, I've got my raincoat off and I'm 100% drenched. That raincoat doesn't really work that well here in this sort of rain. Sustained torrential rain doesn't do that good a job. Doesn't really matter though, because as I said, you got to keep a positive mind, positive frame of mind. And if you're a bit wet, doesn't matter, you get used to it. And really, when I look at this, I've got a beautiful tiramisu there for 50,000 and a beautiful coffee there for 30,000. I'm going to try the tiramisu first and see what it's like. I haven't had this before. I've only actually been here once before. All right, cream. Oh yeah, that is good. Really good. Creamy, chocolatey. It's got a bit of a sponge base, as is traditional. Oh, that's good. I know the coffee here is good, but I'm going to try this one out anyway and do a bit of a taste test to camera. Oh, yeah, Love it. I'm glad I walked up here, actually. It's just a really, really nice cafe. And that rain in here on this tin roof now is absolutely bucketing down. I actually got pretty lucky because that is like a hurricane out there now. So a rainy day here in Sanur comes to an end. Really enjoyed that walk up here to Zavi. It's a bit wet outside. It's actually wetter now than when I was walking, so I'm going to try and get back now. I'm going to get a car rather than a motorbike that I would normally get. I think I might invest in even a better raincoat, because that raincoat that I've got is more for like light showers and that sort of stuff, and it's just totally not suitable. The locals have a good idea for wet weather, and that's just using a plastic bag, like a totally impermeable piece of plastic. You sweat like anything in it, but you don't get wet from the rain in it. That's probably a good idea. Probably cost you about 20,000, so I might invest in one of those so that I'm a little bit more comfortable walking in the wet weather this wet season. Hey, thanks for coming along for the ride today, and thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all things Sanur and the rest of Indonesia. I'll catch you next time, and sampai jumpa.